Hello, fantasy. Now, keep saying fantasy because this is reality. Yes, welcome to No Filter Sports here on the Beltway Radio and Beyond. I am your host, Brian 3SL. Miss Kiki currently right now is somewhere in, I think, Ecuador or where was it? I know it's nowhere in Middle East. I know that for a fact. So she may have gotten in trouble with that last time. But
Oh
anyway.
wow. Okay. Whoa.
Well,
All right.
got the
Give me that
network.
story at some other time. The
Yeah,
network work. Y'all was
the network
broadcasting
got in
from the
trouble
Middle
with that
East,
last. Yes. But anywho,
some
yeah. So
sanctioned country.
so Miss Kiki, if she pops in, we'll have her pop in. But as of right now, we got Tez of Chip Chat
Ding ding
here
ding ding
back
ding.
again.
I can't
Yes,
make it to my own show, but I make it onto this show.
yes, yes.
Sorry, Chip.
So anyway, he's here because thanks to again, we have these pregame discussions on Chip Chat,
Yeah.
and one of those pregame discussions got pretty much
All
me,
of us.
got Chip, got you all upset, and it's the playoff structure of not only in Major League Baseball, but pretty much maybe all the sports around the world. So, but we're going to further discuss that. But actually, I want to talked about you about how are you feeling? It's been a minute since you've been on the show. Talked about golf,
Yes.
especially the pro golf thing that we had about a couple months ago. So, what have you been up to lately?
Man, I've quit the narcotic that is the NFL. So the only time I get to watch that is with y'all on Thursdays. And on Thursdays you can make sure you catch Chip Chat on Beltway Radio Beyond at 9:30 or 9:32, and it can go on usually until 1 in the morning. But sorry, sorry, sore subject for you. But I've been chilling. I guess sports related. I was in the Bay Area over the last few days, and I got to go see a Warriors game.
Oh, okay.
And that, it was very interesting because it's been a long time. It's been a long time since, I guess, the Paul Pierce years before, like, since I watched the fan base really love their basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Warriors lost to the Suns, and like Devin Booker is no joke. Steph Curry is as advertised live. It's insane. It's just insane. It's insane.
I never got the chance. I got the chance to see the Warriors I think it was last season. Yeah, last season. And he was on he was on that
low
scheduled
management
break. Yeah, scheduled break day.
Bradley Beal didn't start. Bradley Beal didn't start. There was he didn't start yet. He I think is also on low management because he's coming off injury, I think, as well too. I mean, from the Wizards, before the Wizards let him. He ended the season injured with the Wizards, but no, I mean there was so much. I mean, the Chase Center, the fans were so live that I can only imagine what it used to be like in Oakland. Like I can only imagine that. Also, some of the things was kind of like a mind fuck. Like the biggest one for me was the whole stadium chanting CP3. Because think about that, because Chris Paul is obviously on the Warriors, but if you've been watching basketball for the last 6 years, that team doesn't like him. Draymond specifically has never had kind feelings towards him. But I watched the whole stadium like chanting for Chris Paul, and Chris Paul was doing the Chris Paul things, like getting the little cheap fouls, and, like just what Chris Paul does. But it was so crazy to see that fan base actually cheering for him. But then the Chase Center is weird too, because the Capital One Arena is like just around a ton of different bars and things, but there's nothing there yet down there. It's just literally that building, like something attached to it. But that got the basketball battery in back of my back. Like I was like, oh, this is what good basketball looks like. Versus my beloved Washington Wizards, which it seems the Warriors like to send their broken goods to. But
yes,
pro Jordan Poole. I don't think he matches for DC, but I'm pretty sure he'll be the next star at Rose Bar. But we'll see. We'll see.
So pretty much, thanks with that little introduction from Tez, we now know that yes, basketball season has begun. They had their tip off earlier this last week of October, which is kind of weird. Normally they'll start in November, but somehow they're kind of like Hanukkah. We'll start early, we can start later, depends on how they feel. And so we'll see how that goes. But this season for the NBA is the first season that they'll have this weird in-season tournament. I don't know why they're doing it. So any thoughts about that?
I guess right. The reason you do this is I think Adam Silver realizes that, I mean, out of any game that comes out of the United States, I mean, basketball is the universal one. No one's crazy enough to go and try to replicate football anywhere else, or American football anywhere else in the world. So, right, I mean, you look at the European football model, and right, I mean, in my whole theme for tonight, as I think through this, is how do we sell more advertisement on TV, right? And that's what it comes down to. I think they try to couch this as, competition, right? As I heard it, they were saying we want to add this in-season tournament to give teams something else to play for, and then thus you wouldn't have the load management as we talked about, right? Like, and we know the NBA is struggling with. I guess I don't see, unless the in-season tournament leads to more draft picks or more cap space, I don't know where the incentive still is.
Right. I'm kind of reminded of when Major League Baseball, yes, back to baseball.
We're always back to baseball.
When the All-Star game was supposed to be for the
for the World Series.
For the World Series. And it's like, we're going to make it count. And it's like, it's an exhibition game. No, it's like, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be relaxing. It's not supposed to be serious. Except unless you're Pete Rose trying to bull down a catcher to try to score a run for the National League. But still, I felt like, it shouldn't be that, But here, this play-in tournament is like, look, you already playing. Mind you, the records do count within the regular season. That's the other thing.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's kind of like how with the WNBA, they have this called the Commissioner's Cup tournament, but or challenge or whatever you want to call it.
I was going to ask about because obviously I was going to ask more around the playoff structure of the WNBA, because I know those are 3-game series, but I was unaware of this cup here though.
Yeah, so they started at about a couple of seasons ago, and again, it whatever. There's no extra incentive. It's just pretty much, hey, we're doing this thing, and it's like okay, and they end up doing this thing, and I mean it's been successful. Again, the record, the Commissioner Cup records coincide with the regular season record because it's during the regular season. The weird thing though is how they designate this as being the in-season tournament compared to the normal regular season tournament. They'll say it's. I don't know how they structure it. I don't know why the schedule is. It's like it's like throwing a dart at the schedule and say, okay, that's commissioner game, and now will be commissioner game. It's kind of like here with this tournament, it's kind of the same thing. There's no extra games. I mean, unless they're playing the same, because based off what I know of the NBA in season tournament is they sectioned off the divisions in a sense of area regions. And then, they play those teams, at least once. And then whoever has the best record within the play-in tournament, the any season tournament, then they go to Vegas and finish it all out in December. So it ends in December. That's the one thing I know. But to me, it's kind of like you said, more advertising dollars. I also believe that, look, you're going to Vegas to have the finals. You've been pushing to trying to get an NBA team there.
There we go. You already knew where I was going with this.
So I kind of figured this is like, look, why not the commissioner just admit the fact it's like, hey, you've been saying the fact like you're going to expand anyway. They just haven't finalized who it is and how that structure is going to be based off of realignment in the divisions and all that stuff, because we know Vegas has been a front runner for it. The other team or the city that everyone wants and back is Seattle. Exactly. So you pretty much will have 2 Western teams, filling in those possible expansion spots. But then again, you don't want the imbalance, because now you have 6 divisions, and having 2 teams in the West Division, in Western Conference, and then none in the on the East side. It's kind of a mild imbalance, which you are imbalanced anyway. So, and this whole tournament's imbalance, and this whole in-house tournament is imbalanced. It's ridiculous. But anyway, that's the NBA, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway,
yeah, I mean, I guess like one, maybe this is kind of a cheaper way to prep Las Vegas and see what it looks like for like having a team there, having LeBron's team there, obviously, because that's whose team is going to be. That's just what it's going to be. And also, I don't like it's. What do you need to make this successful, right? Because I just keep going back to like European football and what some might say that the Champions League is more prestigious than like the EPL championship or La Liga's championship or League One's championship or Serie A's championship. Like you might say that is the bigger one. Like, but I don't know how the NBA does that because again, it's still the same entity, right? I mean, maybe there's a cool song like the Champions League song and a cool sponsor like that might, like, Americans, we could take the good marketing and we could run with it. Like if you do something different, I mean, yeah, but it just goes back to like what are they going to be selling during that time? And I kind of wanted to leave this to later here, but again, when you do this is tied right into like the CBA agreement and the players, like, let's just say you stop this, or let's say after you get the team in Las Vegas, you say we're not going to do this tournament anymore. Or just over time, like with the playoffs, if you make any changes to them or you change it back in some of these other sports, like do players give back the money when the revenue is not right? Like when there's like, hey, this is what the numbers are. We're not going to increase that because the players are paid off of just quiet, not the most people know, but not your tickets aren't paying these players. It's these TV deals, right? So like if you change this, like the whole model is to be on TV as much as possible. I'm sure we'll talk about this with baseball, but yeah, like I just don't know, like the players really benefit from this because this is how they continue. This is how you get the salary cap to continue going up and up. So
right. I just feel like again, like you gave the really best example of an in-season tournament that is pretty much done well is the UEFA Champions League tournament because it's, mind you, both the Premier League and all the other European leagues, their schedule is kind of spread out, but they're able to be, take the time to play these. And the key thing is they have their top players play compared to, let's say, with the MLS and whenever they do the US Open tournament, their thing is I do see a lot of, I would say there a lot of the subs play, unless you have a good core of subs playing, be able to play. Yeah, you can win. Luckily enough, Inter Miami, with the help of Messi, got him into the final.
In the world.
Yeah, so because
which is insane. Insane. That's insane.
Yeah, if he was not there, Miami would have been out a long time ago. But since he was there, he helped that push to get them to the finals. Unfortunately, he didn't win it. But still, it was, one, it brought a lot of attention to the U.S. Open in that aspect as being a international event to watch because we had a top-notch international player playing. But
in his prime still.
In his prime too. But still, I feel like, most of the time I do see a lot of, I do occasional DC United games, and I do see a lot of, their subs play because they don't really get a lot of playing time at all during the regular season. And in addition to the National Women's Soccer League, the same deal. When they did during the World Cup break, they did have their Challenge Cup tournaments they still had to play. So, and pretty much it gives a lot of the players ample time to play. So for within that month, they were able to play those Challenge Cups games. And, but again, it's a lot of the subs that were playing. So I feel like with the in-house, with the NBA in-house tournament, it's kind of like doing it in reverse. It's like with the regular season, you want to keep your fresh players, you keep your top players fresh for the playoffs, but we'll relax them a bit during the regular season. But here now you want to be in this meaningless tournament thing.
So there's a couple. It's almost as if, and I hate to keep bringing this back to European football, but again, if we're talking about sports league who does an in-season or sports that does the in-season tournament correctly, it is that. And I look at it and I'm saying, okay, well, think about just how the structure is of a European football team, and like from the academy to like the under 21s to like the star players, and then like people in between, right? Like a medium star player, like a low average player. It's almost more conducive because of the style, right? Because you might, let's say you're in Champions League. Let's just take the English Premier League. You're in like the Carabao Cup, right? You're in these other like tournaments. Like there's other tournaments that you can be in, and then you can use the players like, all right, we need to make sure folks is ready for Champions League. We're going to use the best folks for that. We got this smaller cup. We're going to use our under 21s, someone who's bright there. And like our least, like we might let the captain sit for this Premier League match because he hasn't had any rest, but we're playing a bottom league team, so it doesn't really matter. And it's almost like it's more conducive to the way the structure of the teams are, where again, especially in basketball, right, the top 5 are the ones who are going to like get things done. So I don't know, like it's weird. I don't know. I know why they're doing it, and again, the reason why they're doing it is money, but I don't know, like if people are looking to it for competition. We'll see. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet, but I don't know if we'll really see the same competition. And I guess it depends on like if the players decide to make it something. Like if the NBA players, when they decide to make the Olympics something, they make the Olympics something and they usually go out and win it. I don't know how that works with like, you'd almost be better off if they were playing international teams at this point.
That's as much as it was a couple months ago, I think an international Olympic runner mentioned the fact it's like, I'm a world champion. These guys aren't world champions. And again, it's like you don't see the Warriors play against anybody else. There's there, even though there's professional leagues in other places, but you don't see them play against anybody else. I think it would be kind of interesting to see an NBA team face against a CBL team, meaning a Canadian Basketball League team, or one of the European teams out there. I mean, we keep going over there for preseason. Why not play against one of those teams?
Serbia, Croatia,
yeah, all that stuff. So, and especially if you have a very, because even though FIBA has they do have their version of the World Cup, but you don't see like how FIFA does it with their professional leagues. They do have a professional league tournament. FIBA doesn't. So I don't know why they haven't done that, but who knows. But speaking of tournaments, all right, we gave you the preliminary of what we're about to discuss because Tez and I and Chip and probably anybody else around this planet, we are not really happy with the current status of playoff structures in the United States of America. It starts with the oldest sport in the professional sport in the world, and that is Major League Baseball. So, for now, what sparked this discussion on Chip Chat was because once we came in and we found out that I am a fan of the Baltimore Orioles, and the Baltimore Orioles won the AL East. They won 101 games. We were like, okay, great. We're the number one team in the American League. We figured like, okay, we have a chance to get to the World Series for the first time in 40 years, blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, once again, there's a reason why I say once again, they get a hot team like the Texas Rangers coming out of the wild card and they sweep us out like it was nothing. This happened back in 2014 against the Kansas City Royals. Same deal, different reasoning, meaning the fact that they started out as a wild card with the one in, not a 3-game series, but the one and done type of format for the wild card, but they still buzzsaw right through into the league championship series. During the broadcast that we had, I mentioned the fact that the Atlanta Braves were facing the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Phillies ended up beating them because I believe the day prior the Diamondbacks swept out the Dodgers, and mentioned the fact that no 100 winning team is in the league championship series. That's never been heard of in the entire Major League Baseball history. It's just like, and even when they split it up to divisions, it's like no team had won 100 games, never made it into the league championship series. And I had to look at the structure of this current playoff structure. So based off the current playoff structure, it says the top 2 teams in the league will get the quote unquote bye week.
The bye week, yep.
Yeah. So the third best division champion will host the 6th best wild card. Mm-hmm. And then there's the 4 and 5. The Rangers faced the Devil Rays.
And also remember as well too that the wild card game that you're talking about mm-hmm. is no longer the single elimination which we've had from 2013 to 2019, and right. I guess in 21 as well too.
Right. So that was now advance it up to best of 3 series. Which
right, and yeah, and I'm saying the best of 3 is like the home field of the better record is that
higher. Yeah. So. Which I was fine. I really didn't like the one and done of that wild card. I felt like it was one. It was
the broadcasters.
Yeah. It just even though there was a lot of quote unquote drama with it, but that let me give you this a lot of refresher for that. The wild card was birthed because for like prior to that, the 2013 season, pretty much like about 3 or 4 seasons straight almost. It was like 2 teams were fighting to get into the playoffs, and they were tied by the end of the year. So they had this,
that extra was the 163, right?
Yeah, the 163
game, yeah.
And it was like, okay, we can do that, but they figured it's like, oh, why don't we have a wild card? Let's expand the divisions.
Like we'll have every a wild other card. League.
Yeah, and we'll have a 1-game playoff for the wild cards. And it's like, oh, okay. And everyone said, yeah, okay, we can do it, and blah, blah. But I felt like as it was going on, it's like, why 1 game? You've been playing series. It's a series. The end is get to a World Series. You have the league championship series. Why you have a 1-game wild card playoff? And that didn't make sense to me. So now up to by 2020, when they had the COVID year,
right?
They were able to expand on not only just the division, the wild card series, because they made them those into all the into a 3-game series, but they also expanded the wild card into you have your normal 3 division champions, but they added 5 wild cards. So it's like for each league. So pretty much it's 16 teams going in. I felt like, okay, I'm good with that because everyone gets a chance to do what they can do. After the 2020 season, they go to 21, and now they take away those 2 extra wild cards, and we're left with what we got. 3 wild cards and 3 division champions. And I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. All right. My problem is, and I believe you were in agreement with this, is I felt like with the quote-unquote bye week, I felt like, wait a minute here. We're not football. No, baseball never has a bye.
Resting.
Yeah, no one's resting.
No one's getting healed up for injury.
Right. It's like...
Maybe Max Scherzer, the one person. Other than that, but no one else is.
Right. I'm like, I don't understand. I can understand taking a day off. There's always usually a day off, and if there's rain, of course, it may be 2. Roughly no more than 2. But for a team, you figured it's like, oh, we're honoring, we're rewarding our teams, some breaks, give them a few days, few weeks to rest up and all that stuff. It's like, nah, man,
it doesn't work in baseball.
Doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And I felt like the Braves, the Orioles, and the Dodgers. I felt
Tampa Bay too, right?
Well, Tampa Bay wasn't a 100-game winner but they were in the wild card. But Tampa, their issue, I felt like they were, I don't know, during down the stretch, when they lost the East Division lead.
East Division,
they were not the same. For some odd reason, they were trying to get back into it, but somehow there were games where I don't know, they were totally off, and I felt like they weren't really the team to really be contending in a sense. They would have gave a good, interesting fight if they would have beaten Texas, but I just didn't really see it that way. But carrying on is the fact that with the we hold on a second. We have live from Ecuador, Miss Kiki. How you doing, Miss Kiki? You hear me, Kiki? She got that satellite feed. Miss Kiki, you hear us?
Maybe. No, I don't know.
Pop in, pop. We hear you. We see you. We don't hear you. You hear us? Give us a thumbs up if you hear us. Still don't hear you. You may have to pop in and out again so you can hear us.
The Ecuadorian margaritas is hidden.
Yep. Yeah, gotta pop in and out again. So because we can't hear you. Okay. So let's see. We'll get her back in. Let's see. Okay. But anyway, I'm gonna give her a communique.
Right.
But anyway, my thing with the whole current state of Major League Baseball tournament is like I just felt like now this may be coming from is like, oh, you're just mad because you're an Oilers fan, you got stuff out.
As a Nationals fan, I like the 1-game wild card. It worked out for me.
Right. So, but to me, I felt like I'm more of a baseball fan than just in addition to being an Oriole fan. As a baseball fan, I felt like not seeing a 100-game winning team not in the league championship series is criminal. Yeah, like you say, it's criminal. It does not make sense. And then the World Series we have now, you have once again, wild card teams.
Come on, both
and wild card teams.
I get what you're saying, but the Rangers in the second half of the year were not good, and they probably shouldn't have. To me, shouldn't be a team that's here. Arizona, I'm not going to get started with them. Whatever. We're here. This is I guess. Oh God, where do I want to start with this? I'll talk about solutions at the end. It's criminal that a team and I have no love for the Braves, but that's a strong team. Similar to the Orioles, I think as well too, you want the best of the best, and those teams were it. Now, most will say, hey, well, they didn't win. I do think baseball is a rhythm sport, and by you breaking it up, I don't know. I forgot the exact amount of days. I want to say it might have been 7 days off, maybe.
Yeah, it was 7 days.
7 days, right? 7 days off. 7 days off, and you try to bring these offenses were high powered, right? They weren't just a regular offense. The Orioles come out in that first game and shit the bed. They put up 1 run. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make any sense, right? And in the second game, right, they get 8, and then they lose it 3-2.
Actually, no, you mix it up. They had the 3-2 in the first game. They lost 8-5 in the second, and they only scored 1 run in the last one. Yeah.
Right. Excuse me, in the last one, yeah. So then they win that. Excuse me, I'm back. I had it messed up. Yeah. But regardless, you should that team, whether it's the output from their bullpen to again the amount of runs they should put up. I don't think the samples, what we saw wasn't the sample size that we saw through the regular season. My only solution to this is that they have to be 7 games. There's sound.
Yeah, okay. Miss Kiki, are you okay in Ecuador?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. You're perfectly
There we go. It looks like I'm locked up abroad.
Okay, so we don't have to, get the.
Off.
Say again.
I saw him behave himself.
Okay. All right. We've had Miss Kiki via satellite. I know she's roaming about somewhere.
I'm on the road.
Yes. Okay. Actually, we're currently doing our talking about our main topic is the playoff structure in all of the American sports, so to speak. And Tez and I, we're in our midst of complaining about Major League Baseball. So,
Me too.
yeah. So, pretty much the whole emphasis has been the fact of there were no 100 game winners. We had 300-game winners in the playoffs, and all three of them didn't make to the league championship series. And I know you're not a full-on baseball fan, but I want to at least briefly, how do you feel about not seeing it's pretty much three teams, let alone one, not getting to a league championship series, and how this structure of baseball playoffs is for you?
First of all, go Tigers.
Oh wow! Hey, go Miggy, go Miggy.
Second of all, it upsets me because honestly, like I said before, it's a great time to be alive for sports like college, NFL, Major League Baseball, college. I mean, it's a great time to be alive, and for that not to happen, it's very sad. It's very sad. Like it's just one of those things. It's one of those things. Like I'm not a like you said before, I'm not a super Major League Baseball fan. However, in between NBA and NFL, that's my go-to.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get into their playoff structure because there's some shitty structuring in that too. But
the text message.
Excuse me. Let me turn that.
All these notifications.
But can you bring up a great point? There's a good point right there as well too, though, because it was such a great baseball season that the postseason kind of ruined how great the baseball season was. I didn't think that was possible. I didn't think you could have that. Was the best baseball season probably since 1998. Yeah. Like as just like of action on the field, people being excited about it, and they ruined it in the playoffs, which I didn't think it's. I don't know how that's possible for a sport to make it to the playoffs and then to get worse.
Facts.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give you the current evolution of this modern day baseball playoff format, where again taking it back, and again, I feel like I feel like the essence of Chip is in me because I feel from the porch. Because I feel like this is always affecting my team. Yeah. So the 97 Baltimore Orioles, they went, wire to wire, winning the AL East, meaning they won the first game and they stayed on top from day 1 to day 162. They were supposed to actually face the wild card team, but they end up because around that time when this whole introductory of the wild card for Major League Baseball came about, they always had this weird thing. They didn't want to have the teams of the same division facing each other in the divisional series. But I felt like it's like, no, you want to have the lower seed face the higher seed.
Yes,
and I believe at the time, it was the Yankees who won the wild card, so they didn't have the chance to face them again. And they did this weird flip flop of it's like, okay, we'll have instead of facing Cleveland, so they end up going against Cleveland and facing New York, and then Seattle had to face the Orioles, and it's like, wait a minute, Seattle's the number 2 best team in the league, or I don't know why you have them play against each other. It screwed up everything. So, and then get into the league championship series, Orioles against Cleveland, and then we know from there on, we know what happened. But, the Marlins ended up buying their World Series. So,
oh, God, yeah. I
but I still felt it's like, even then it was kind of weird how that structure was. It was like, and a lot of people complained it then. It's like, wait, why can't the lower seed, we don't want this flip flop. The 1 faces the 2 and a 2, the 3 faces, it just the lowest seed face the highest seed and everything else fall into place. It was in a way kind of like they were still trying to figure it out in a sense. But go ahead.
Go Marlins.
But adding into now, it's like it's almost the same thing. It just felt like it's like I really felt like the 2020 year was the right setup for this wild card edition. It was like you had 8 teams, you had on each league, the 8 seed faces the 1 seed. There was 3-game best of 3 in a wild card, and then you go on from there. I was fine with that because the main thing, like you said, Taz, it's about momentum. And the lack of momentum for any of these teams in baseball is a killer. It just doesn't make sense to me. I just feel like you're even though Manfred, he's the commissioner of baseball, said that
he's not worried about it.
Yeah, he's not worried about it. Oh, this is great. This is great for baseball. It's like, look at what you got. You got a 6 seed Arizona and a 5th seed Texans in your World Series. Mm-hmm. They should not be there. You had 3 teams. We wanted either Orioles and Braves or Orioles or Dodgers. You had 3 you had 3 100 winning teams, and none of them are there. And you sit there and say, it's like, oh, that's baseball. That's how the cookie crumbles. It's like, no, that's bullshit.
I agree with you. I feel like if it's 3, let it be 3. If it's 4, let it be 4. Like if that's what it boils down to, that's what it boils down to. And to me, I want to speak NFL, right? That's how you rid yourself of the Tom Brady's and the fucking, those people, the New England Patriots. It rid yourself
of the premier teams. You're getting rid of a lot of premier teams.
Yeah, so I'm not mad at that.
See, but
come on, Ted.
The actual commissioner's office is always mad when you yank these big markets out. And like, I know people don't want to, and New England, I guess they made themselves into a big market, but like in baseball, like not having LA is kind of crazy. And like, that not like Atlanta, even right now, like most people would have wanted to seen the rematch, right, of the Phillies and Houston at least. No one wanted to see this. No one wanted to see this. No, you can't. You can barely name people on these teams.
I'll add this to the fact. If it's one thing to not have LA. If the Yankees were the AL, it had the 101 wins and won the AL East, and they were knocked out, I trust and believe. I think Manfred will be talking a different tune of how this playoff structure is.
They wouldn't have got knocked out.
I think they would have.
They would have did something. They would have made sure there would have been some nefarious acts that happened. They're still dealing with baseball.
Yeah, we'll have another, some kid, catching a fly ball.
Exactly.
Quote, it's like, I thought I was catching it. No. So, but anyway, well, in addition to the Major League Baseball's weird structure, let's add into, like you said, the NFL. The NFL, they had to restructure their their playoff structure where they eliminated the 2 teams getting a bye week and only gave it to the number 1 team in the conference, in each conference. Mind you, again, it's about money. They added another wild card. Again, have to add about money. But I feel like I've been okay with that. I mean, it's sort of like, I mean, I was okay with just, the top 2, but just giving it to the number 1, it's an extra fight for, between the division leaders to get that number 1 spot. And then having an extra wild card, you're kind of, again, more teams trying to fight for that, last piece of the pie, so to speak. Kiki, I ask you, how do you feel about this current NFL structure of having, pretty much, I think it's 7 teams in each, so total of 14 teams into the playoffs?
I'm not mad at it at all. I'm not mad at it. You probably will get a lot of back and forth from me, or a lot of kickback from me. NFL wise, I'm with all that. Mm-hmm. I'm a Dallas fan, so let's be and a Detroit fan on weekends.
Mm-hmm. You were pretty much, well, you have to wait until tomorrow. This have your as we're recording during Halloween.
Please watch Raiders in Detroit tomorrow. It's going to be a great game. But I'm a Cowboys fan on a weekday, and Detroit on weekends. So I'm not mad at that. Like, honestly, a lot of the things that go on NFL wise, you probably can't get a lot of kickback from me because I feel like a lot of things are an upgrade. It's I was dissatisfied for years with how NFL ran their things, and a lot of the new things, I'm with it. I'm with it. Sorry.
All right. Taz, so how you feel about?
No, I mean, again, I don't kick this narcotic, but it's on every Thursday inside the doing Chip Chat. I mean, for me, I think just in general, the way the NFL, even by adding the extra game, week to week is still the playoffs. I feel like there's not as much as college, but like week to week, you need to win, and a loss can obviously set you back. I feel like maybe I still probably would lean to having the 2 bye weeks, but also it's hard for me to ever go fully down that route because you need to have these teams more on TV, and that's always what it's going to be. Like, you need to have them more. So having the 1 bye week makes sense on there. I mean, I think the added game is crazier than any of the different changes in the playoffs. Wow. Well, no, because just in general, like these people out here, they're having car crashes every time they hit each other. They're having a car crash each time, and to give them an extra game just seems kind of crazy. But we care about their safety. But I digress on that.
Who's your team, Taz?
I don't have a team.
Yeah,
I don't have a team anymore. I just watch. Actually, you know what it is? I like Patrick Mahomes. He lost today to friggin' Russell Wilson. I watched that. I was very upset.
She dropped out.
It was so upset.
So our last guest, Miss Jasmine, she's a Giants fan, so I'm surprised Miss Kiki held out for that. But again, Miss Kiki will pop back in. We'll see. But
I mean, the playoff piece of this, once the teams make it there, being that it's no series, I just feel like that playoff is always going to be different. Like, there's no series in the NFL, so it's always going to be different. It's always going to be better because it's at that point, whoever wins, it's it. You move on or you go home. Right. There's no way of doing extra games.
Yeah, the one and dones are always the more intense, interesting aspect compared to a series. Understandable, mind you. They've been overhyping. When it comes to the NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, the Game 7, he's like, "Oh, it's a Game 7." Yeah, because this is it. Whoever wins, that's it. You battle out 6 times, and you guys are tied up. So this is the last game. I get it. So,
unpopular opinion though, here the NHL has the best playoffs. It's the best one. Yeah, just for the randomness of how it happens, and it's more random than anything. That's the reason I'll say that. And I'm not even a huge NHL fan, but if I sit there and watch the playoffs, objectively, those games are insane.
Right.
They don't match up to anything else you see in the regular season.
Yeah. Pretty much that's what a lot of people say when it comes to NHL and the NBA. Everyone kind of sort of they have the regular season, and it's okay, we have the regular season. We're just waiting for the playoffs because basically that's how a lot of the fandom is. It's kind of like they wait for the playoffs. We know who's going to be in there. We'll just wait until June.
Propaganda. It's propaganda.
Yeah. So and mind you, if I've kind of grown to like the fact that with the NBA and NHL, I like the fact that of lately the legacy teams have kind of been aging out. For some way, shape, or form, in NHL, it's you don't see a lot of, Pittsburgh a lot anymore. You can't, mind you, or but the up and comers, you do see Tampa, Las Vegas, since day one.
Florida.
Florida Panthers are coming back. For God's sakes, can Toronto win a damn cup? So I'm a Capitals fan, but my heart feels for Toronto half the time. So, but yeah, I mean, that playoff structure I feel like has been, even though it has evolved with with the expansions and everything. So, but I've been okay with it because it really hasn't changed in a sense because how that goes. But with the NBA, let's get back in the NBA.
Yes, so we didn't talk about this one here.
So the play-in tournament. No, it's not like. So if anyone who hasn't been living on a rock, So the last 2 seasons, the NBA incorporated this play-in tournament where the bottom 4 teams, meaning 7, 8, 9, and 10 seeds, will play each other to get into the NBA playoffs. So 7 faces 10, 8 faces 9. How it works is this. So if 7 beats 10, 7 pretty much goes into the playoffs. If 10 beats 7, they get another day to move up. 7 has to face 8, or not the winner, the I believe the loser between 8 and 9, so they can try to get in there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like 10 faces whoever, and they'll get in there, and it's like, what the hell? You're kind of like my head. It's like, what's who? Wait, 6 to 7 to 10 times another? I don't know, but in the end, it's kind of like it gives other teams life in a sense. I remember LeBron wasn't really happy about it because
I hate that.
Yeah, because he said it's like, oh, well, why do we have to play this? Because, well, it's a playoff. You want to get in or you don't. So it's your chance. So we're not living in the bubble anymore, LeBron. You're not taking 2 months off to try to come back and win a title that you never deserved.
Oh,
so yes, I'm still mad at that. It's still an asterisk.
Yourself, and you should not allow your personal opinion to get.
It's his show, I guess.
Yes.
But
very neutral. Relax.
Okay, I'll be neutral. Okay, Ms. Kika, are you okay with the play-in tournament of the NBA?
No Lakers.
So the Lakers get into being a 10th seed, trying to fight their way into this play-in, which they've done, I think, the last 2 seasons.
Yes, I was going to say LeBron hated it, but he uses it.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? It allows him a better chance to make the playoffs in his older age.
It does, and I'm not mad. He hates it, but I love it. Like, because of that very reason. Like, honestly, Detroit is my team on the weekends. Lakers my front team. ... Yada yada yada. So I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. It kind of works in my favor a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm. So you get a chance to see your team a little bit longer.
Yes.
Okay. Tez, how about you? How do you feel about
I'm with it again because it's single. I mean, it's technically not single elimination, I guess, depending on the seeding. But still, there's more suspense around it. I also think, didn't the Heat come out of that last year?
Mm-hmm.
I have to look at that.
I think the Heat came out of that last year, out of the play. Yeah, I'm more than certain, Jimmy. Yes, Jimmy Butler. They definitely came out of that last year, and I think it just adds an element of suspense at the end of the season. And again, the same thread is still here. We're here to sell more advertisement. So the more games that we can have on TV, the more advertisement there is, the bigger the player's salary can be. And I don't think they're ever going against that. And again, if you take this stuff away, the player's going to be like, all right, well, they say the new agreements, TV agreements, hey, we cutting stuff by 30% because we're not going to do this. No one's going for that. The fans is going to be happy because there's more basketball on TV. I think, again, these games need to be good and compelling. If people are getting blown out, then it doesn't really make sense. But I feel like the last 2 years, at least, that I've watched the play-in, I'm here for it. I ain't got no.
Yeah, because it needs to make sense. It needs to make sense. And in that essence, if it makes sense, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah, if it makes sense. But I feel like with everything, it does. I understand it does boil down to money. I get it. I feel like, for the the leagues themselves, more, and they expanded from either single eliminations to series, the 3 to 4 to 5. NBA went from the first round being a 3-game series to a 5, and now a 7, which I don't want. They need to get back to 5.
5 would be nice. I sometimes long for 5, but there's no way you can go back.
They will never go back. It's like, why regress? But I just think that with I don't know. To me, the NBA playoffs is not as compelling as it was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe because of the fact, like, some of the teams, I felt like the league tried to favor a lot of their top tier players to be in the playoffs, and they always try to fight, try to, steer to its thing to where they always wanted when Kobe was around. They wanted Lakers versus Cleveland. They for when LeBron was there and Kobe was in, they kind of wanted that. They want their premier players to face each other. They want that we want Bird and Magic, but it's like, well, those two, mind you, their history dates back to their college days, and then secondly, you get to the point where see them being on the two most historical franchises is surprising still, but you kind of have to have the league evolve. You can't have just the legacy teams continue to do what they're doing. That's why I was happy to see Detroit finally win, and then
only you were happy. No one else was happy for that. No one was happy for the Nets.
Miss Kiki, were you happy when Detroit won their first NBA title?
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. There it is.
See?
The nation was not happy. The nation wasn't happy for that. When the Spurs were in it and they won it, I don't think the nation was happy for that. Mm-hmm. I do like when the Nets kept making it there as well too. I think the NBA is really happy with who makes like even Milwaukee making it.
You don't have pictures. It's the whole entire lie. Pictures. You need more people.
Look, I don't know. I'm just saying, like people, New Jersey Nets when they were making the finals, everybody was excited for that.
It was different. The year when Philadelphia got into the finals, they were happy the fact that AI finally got to the finals.
Yes, that's a story you can sell.
Yeah. So, but still, the thing is,
Richard Jefferson and them. Who was those teams? The Kerry Kittle's teams. I don't know, man.
Right. Everyone.
The story you can sell on it. I don't know.
but still, it's like, I mean, mind you, you can. For those who are watching, we may be contradicting ourselves. It's like we do want to see different teams in the finals, but we feel like, these teams have to be really, really good to get there.
There we go.
And I think that's the real thing that I felt like is missing. Mind you, if there's one thing to have a Cinderella story, that's good for college basketball. Yes, that's fine for college basketball. Seeing a Butler, seeing a Gonzaga before they became a dominant team. Davison, whomever, that's fine. But when it comes to the pro sports, nah, man, this is like you were not. Yeah, you need the best, and you want to feature your product, and this is how you're featuring your product. It doesn't, to me, that's like you're kind of watering it down a little bit. Miss Kiki, yes.
Best is relative. Let's be clear.
That's fair. You're right.
Thank you. That's all I want to say.
Okay. All right. Actually, the last playoff structure I want to try to dismantle and humiliate and all that stuff is the college football playoff. Okay. For the last 5 so years, let's really go back. I hated the polls, I hated the BCS, and I'm hating this playoff structure. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't warrant anything. It doesn't help anything. It doesn't do anything. It is a complete mess. And college football does not give a shit. I do not like the fact that you have these Power Fives that constantly keep being in there. I don't like the fact that it's like Notre Dame can slide right in whenever they feel like it. I don't like the fact that you don't honor or respect any team that are either undefeated, who has played pretty well during the season. You keep honoring teams who have either lost 1 or 2 games, and you still get them into those damn tournament. It makes no goddamn sense. And I've hated it ever since. College football is a fucking ridiculous, money-hungry piece of shit, and I'm sick of it. How do you feel?
Who wants to go first on this one?
Miss Kiki? Ladies first.
It's a great day to be alive. I'm split with that. Because I agree with you. Prior to the last 2 seasons of college football, like I didn't give a shit. Like I watched it to find out with who was gonna be in the draft, honestly. And you know how I feel about the draft. Me and you talked about the draft, and we kind of split with that. But I watched it to kind of find out who was coming over here. I don't hate college football right now. First of all, go Big Blue. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
But do you feel? Let me ask you this: do you feel that there's just sort of like a blockage for teams that?
I do feel that. Okay. And I need you fish, but I do feel that. I do feel that.
Okay, Tess, do you agree or disagree, or where you're at?
I mean, was the BCS any better?
BCS was trash.
Okay, that's all right. So cool. All right, so we know we came from trash, and we kind of still at. I don't even know if it's trash. I think that's a free for all sport, no matter what, and it's always been that. And now I just think, in combination with everything else that's changed, whether it's NIL, whether it's the transfer portal, open this up now and make more playoff teams. At this point, just blow this whole thing up, like blow it up, because the whole prestige and like the whole college atmosphere that I think people are longing for is long gone. And like, I don't think the playoff system makes that much sense outside of it's more games on TV. And like, you still tie the bowl element into this as well. So like, I don't know. To me, it doesn't really seem to change much. I think like the BCS wasn't great. Now, I mean, there's still a committee, right, that's doing this. Yeah. It's still a committee. It's not a computer. So, I mean, but I think this college football still gives people something to argue about more. And I don't think that's necessarily bad for your sport.
Again, arguing is one thing, but I don't like the fact of having the same teams in over and over again.
But Georgia is the best. But Georgia is a really
I understand Georgia. I understand
they kept winning, and now they're probably not going to win this year.
I get that.
I feel like that's wrong. It's like they deserve to be there because most college teams really fight. Like NFL, I can understand that. College teams fight to be there, and I think they earn their spots. It's not NFL kind of is given. Look, it's kind of given. College, I think they fight their way.
Sorry, kids.
You
might not be sorry, kids.
Right.
You might lose to the better people. I don't know.
Right. But I do agree.
What are you saying, Taz?
I'm just saying, sorry, the kids, the poor kids, sorry, you just might not win. They're just, even though you might fight hard, you just might not make it.
AKA Colorado, excuse me.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Sorry, kids.
Right. Well, I'll say this though. I mean, last year I felt like TCU deserved to be in the one. They deserved to be in that playoff, and they deserved to be in the national championship, even though they got their ass handed to them by Georgia.
Right.
But it's like, look, they were best team. One of the best 4 teams in there. I do agree they do plan to expand it to 6 next season, and I think by 2028 they'll have it up to 12. My thing is who those 6 or 12 be, and the thing is they keep putting these wild cards or whatever to be in there instead of, I felt like, conference champions. It makes it's like, what is the point of winning a conference championship if you can't, and especially if you are the undefeated and all that stuff, and you can't even get in this damn tournament. That's why I felt like during the BCS BS, Boise State was a top tier team, undefeated. A lot of people were watching them and all that stuff. They end up losing one game, and sadly it was their bowl game. And it's like, no, we don't get a chance for another national title. Because the way I see it is, it's like, I want to see other teams get a national championship chance. I don't want to keep seeing Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Michigan, Ohio State. It's like the same shit over and over and over again. It's like, come on now.
They fight for that shit. Give it to them.
Is it fighting, or is the fact is like Ted said earlier about the NIL deals now? That a lot of people are reconstructing, a lot of money being moved.
If you watch if you sit through 2 and 3 hours of the game, you can kind of see what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, Ohio State, they fight for that shit. Michigan, they fight for that shit. That is what it is. And then guess what? Because you're two-faced. Because when Colorado was actually winning, people were saying what they were saying about that. They was fighting for that shit. That's what it is. Give it to them. And I'm sorry, it's the same. Like I'm gonna be contradictive because I hate it when freaking Patriots is winning over and over and over and over and over again. But if that's what it is, it's what it is. And it's fuel to me for the next team or the team below or the team that's fighting for it to do more to get it.
Okay.
This is my opinion. Sorry.
Hey, that's what is all. No filters. Well, I'm going to give, before we get in our NFL prediction, or I will restructure for this week or something else. Before that, Tez, I want to ask you. I know English Premier does not do playoffs.
I told my list of things. I was waiting to get there. I was going to say, do we do straight points?
Yes. So, how would you feel? Because MLS, they have their playoffs.
Right.
Playoffs. How would you feel about English Premier League with a playoff system?
It's not how I care about it. It's about what those fan bases care about it. I think if you think back to the Super League and when they started talking about that, you seen the protests that happened. We all know the folks in Europe is just a different type of folk. Right. They're going to get upset. So the point, you can't do playoffs. Will it ever happen though? I wouldn't rule it out. It could happen, but I think those fan bases, and there is that rich tradition to the point where it's like, all right, it's total points, and like you kind of know where folks are at sometimes a month and a half out before the end of the season. So, I mean, but also too, what balances that is that you can still have that playoff structure in the cups. So it's kind of like though the leagues are the leagues, like the cups still kind of give you the playoff structure once you get to these rounds of 16s as well. So, and that's, I think, where the balance comes. I personally don't think you'll see it in the Premier League, any playoffs.
If, let's say this, would you have asked or demanded a playoff structure during Man U's wild run? Because at the time, it felt like Manchester United was so dominant. It is like, no one else could get a chance.
No, but I mean, I think it becomes hard at that point too, because then I think of the salary cap. There's no salary cap structure there, right?
Right.
I mean, there is in a sense, but like depending on the teams and what money they have, and I think that plays into it where I can't. It's almost like it's not apples to apples there, because they also were having they had the players too, like they were signing the best players as well in the world. Right. So it's just, I think that's where European football is always going to be a little different, because depending on where your purse is at, you can sign the best players, you can play the best players, and you should win with the best players. So,
right. Okay. Well, on that note, let's quickly get into our. Normally we would say NFL prediction, but since Tez is here, it will be Tez touchdown, takes.
Oh yeah, my takes. I got my sound there. All right.
Yeah. Well, actually, you'll hear it under the bed during
okay,
stuff like that. So, all right. The first game, I believe, since we haven't featured them, and most of these teams we haven't featured a lot, but we'll start with this: the Colts and the Panthers. Panthers finally got a win. Colts trying to find a quarterback. Tez, who do you think will win that game?
Ooh, Colts versus Panthers. I'm taking the Panthers.
Shouldn't be that hard.
Taking the Panthers.
Kiki.
Colts. Panthers is trying to get it together, and they finally got it together, bro. Bye. Carolina is for 2023. It's a wrap. Christmas.
Well, they only put up 15 points today.
Christmas.
Oh.
Look, Christmas wrap, Crunch Supreme. I don't care which wrap you pick. Done.
All right. I'm gonna cap her with the Colts as well. Panthers are still figuring themselves out, but
this quarterback got sacked 6 times.
Yeah.
For the Panthers. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Lord.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
Next up,
this one. It's an upset.
All right. Week 10 game we have is the Atlanta Falcons and the Arizona Cardinals. This may be Murray's return, maybe not. Dobbs, he impressed me against the Ravens this game. But Atlanta, surprisingly enough, leading this NFC South. So Tez, who do you see winning this one?
I'm gonna go Arizona. So I assume Murray's her back.
All right, Miss Kiki.
I'm gonna say Arizona. Falcons is only leading the South because their South is trash. Like you're not leading it because you're dominating. It is default. To me, it's default.
Because the Panthers are there. That's why. That's why they're leading. Because the Panthers is around.
Yeah. So to the Falcons. Like, love y'all. Y'all make good Southern food. However,
but no, they're not gonna win this one. I'm going with Atlanta. Here's why. I really, the Cardinals, as impressive, seeing them in this game against the Ravens, I still feel like there's always some missing. With Murray, he still needs to. He's not in game shape. Like, we know that for a fact.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're I don't know. They're a fickle team. I mean, they'll play hard. They will play hard, but I just don't think that they will play a full 60. They'll play maybe a good 45, maybe even 40, but not a full 60. So I really think the Atlanta. I think they're good. They'll be competitive. They're not great, but I think they can beat the Cardinals. So you guys can take the Redbirds. I'll take the Blackbirds. So,
I can't wait.
Or the Dirty Birds.
I can't wait to call you on the phone. Honestly.
Okay. All right. This week 11 game. I think everybody and their mama wanted to see this. It's the rematch of last year's Super Bowl, the Eagles and the Chiefs. Miss Kiki, who do you have?
Honestly, okay, because everyone knows that Eagles is in my division, and it's sacrilege. It's sacrilegious for me to even say Eagles. I'm gonna say I bet on my homie. I bet on my homie all the time because guess what? He makes a way out of no way. Like to me, I'm not a Jalen Hurts hater, but I'm definitely my homie fan. So that's it.
All right. Tez?
Back before I quit this sport, as a child, I used to pray for the day when there was two black quarterbacks that was this good. I used to pray. I used to be like, oh my God. Like, I used to think about these days from the Dante Culpepper days to Warren Moon to McNabb to all these people. Like, I used to pray for black quarterbacks to be the best in it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I stand with Kermit the Frog. But yeah, I'm with Mahomes. I always stand with Mahomes. He's Jordan. I know he had the flu today, and he ain't had a flu game, so he couldn't pull it out today. But yeah, I'm rocking with Mahomes just like I would rock with him from the beginning since I ever see him play because he is what it is. So yeah, I'm going.
He's an anomaly like that. He's phenomenal, and I don't say that because it's wrong for me to say it about another quarterback and not my own.
No, he's Jordan.
No, yeah, that Bama is it.
He's Jordan. So I don't even like football, and I watch him.
Absolutely. Look across the team to just see somebody who every week, even if they lose, it's not a terrible loss. Like you watch them today, it wasn't a terrible loss. Like that Bama still pulls it out, and it's still great moments in that L.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna burst all y'all's love fest for Mahomes. No. I
you just like teams with birds in them. That's why.
Well, maybe that. I am a bird.
Like teams with birds.
You're a bird. You're a bird.
Yes. I just really feel that the Eagles had him in that Super Bowl. They continue. You can laugh. No, like I said, the best way to beat Mahomes is as long as you
had a hurt leg.
I understand that, but they let it off the hook. Like I said, Super Bowl. Yes, but again, those three Super Bowls. If you look at all three Super Bowls and how those teams, who the Buccaneers, the Eagles, and the Niners had leads on them on the Chiefs, they were able to contain them. Only the Buccaneers kept their foot on his neck. No, the Eagles let up, and the Buccaneers and the Niners let up. Once those two teams let up, that's how Mahomes gets you. And that's the thing that I feel like in this game is like the Eagles. I mean, so far the last couple of weeks have been kind of like been playing catch up for whatever reason. But once they get it going, they'll get it going. The Chiefs are kind of like, I'm not sure if you can say it's the Super Bowl hangover finally kicking in, but honestly, I think the Chiefs are still beatable, even though, I don't know. I just feel like this is not the same Chiefs team. Mind you, they have a lot of great fast parts and all that stuff, but really, this is not the same Chiefs team that we saw, in the last 3 Super Bowls they were in. So I really think the Eagles will take this one. So
that Bucs team's defense was really good, and Tom Brady made less mistakes.
Sure.
That's the only reason that happened. Tom Brady made less mistakes, as you would expect him to do.
Right.
As you would expect him to do.
As you expect him to do. So, but last game we're going to talk about for the month of November. I haven't talked about this team yet, or in a while, is your boy Russell Wilson hosting against the Cleveland Browns.
Oh God,
Miss Kiki, how do you feel about that matchup?
I'm not hating Russell Wilson. I feel like he's doing what he's doing what he has to do with what he has to work with. So, I'm here for whatever the outcome is. I'm not, because I feel like he's putting in the work. People can say what they want to say about Russell Wilson. I'm not a fan of him, but I'm not a hater of him also. And I think that whatever he's doing what he has to do with what he has to work with. And I think with that matchup, I think it's the same on both sides of the football to me. They're all doing the best with what they have to work with. I like the Cleveland Browns. I do. I'm not a Broncos hater. So none of them people in my division, so I got shit to lose or win. I've got a dog in the fight with any one of these teams, but I don't hate them, and I feel like the Browns, they equally have a chance, because each week you see when you count Russell Wilson out, you shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't, but okay. But so you're picking Cleveland though? or we're gonna do like we did last month. You're gonna sort of like, it's a pick 'em.
Smartfully, I want to pick Cleveland. Smart, but as a smart football person, I have to. I don't want to, but I have to. And honestly, if Russell Wilson pulls that one out against them, I'll be surprised. So I have to pick Cleveland because I know better. Know better.
All right, Taz, who you have?
Is the nasty man playing? Who? Quarterback. The nasty man, the quarterback.
Oh,
nasty
as of right now, as long as he doesn't have a concussion, yes.
The nasty man is playing, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want him to pull out anything, okay? He's done enough of that, okay? So he's done enough of that and caused enough harm in these streets. So no, I'm gonna go ahead with Russell Wilson. The corny man.
Yeah,
the corny man. The corny man is better than the nasty man.
I want to talk to you in the kitchen, Ted.
The corny man is better than that nasty man who Cleveland paid all that money to. I'm just saying. I don't know. Allegedly, allegedly.
Can I jump in here?
Go ahead.
Right, man. Brian, let me jump in here. Why are you saying that, Taz? Why?
Because Deshaun Watson is alleged to have.
He off his shit a little bit, but
he ain't good no more either. From what I've the small sample size I've seen, he don't seem like the same quarterback he was before.
No.
All the
but everybody else, and I get that key players.
Cleveland is a good team to my knowledge as well.
No, key players are hurt, but are you serious?
I'm going to say this. I'll say this.
Russell Wilson might pull it out.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson. I've been reading a lot and hearing the rumbles that a lot of the Cleveland Browns made a mistake. They've been saying they pretty much said the mistake of giving him that contract, of allowing this to the manifest. It's sort of like its own thing.
Just on football, he didn't play.
Yeah, he didn't play until
that long.
Yeah,
I mean, Michael Vick might be the only person I've seen to go that long and that come back, but that shows you how good Michael Vick was.
Right, but
Deshaun Watson was good though. He was
good.
He
was, but he had a really good team in front of him too.
True.
Unfortunately, they couldn't get past any other team to get further than that where they were. But I really felt like there was a lot of. I just feel like Cleveland. I don't know. They just wanted out of the Baker Mayfield race or whatever we wanted to call it. But I just felt like he was really a good quarterback for that team. I just felt like he
got into the playoffs, right?
Yeah, got into the playoffs. Yeah. He was. I think he was He was a Cleveland Browns quarterback. You can
That's why
tell
he's not there no more.
Yeah,
similar to Deshaun Watson, not will be there. Well, I guess.
Yeah.
These are all. We're gonna look back for the last 25 years and be like, damn, they always Brady Quinn. Who else did we got? I'm trying to think. Hoyer,
Brian Safe, and all that stuff.
All these people.
Baker.
Yeah, all these people are gonna be like, no matter who they are, you come like, they was a Browns quarterback. Yeah, franchise
was the quintessential. Relax.
But I feel like with I don't know, Cleveland it's touch and go. If like you said, if Watson's still playing, I think Denver's winning. I think Denver just needs to really mesh. I think towards since it's going into November, I think they're meshing pretty okay.
If the backup plays, I'd go. What's the name? I would go Cleveland.
I
don't think Deshaun Watson is good
for
Cleveland.
For Cleveland.
Yeah, because he wasn't bad either.
He wasn't bad, and I just don't think Deshaun Watson is it anymore. I think he doesn't know. I don't know what happened to him, but
Yeah, but hopefully, if
he lost his vice.
Yes. Yeah. That's
I see why I'm telling you. See why you're playing no well. No, his vice is gone.
Tez, read your text right now. Just read your text.
So with Russell, but Russell, if as long as he's not, calling out, Seattle plays, he'll be fine. So I think Denver has a chance.
I think that can help him whole time.
Yeah.
I think he should call out Seattle plays because right now.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll help, maybe it'll hurt, but we'll see. Anyway, Tez, I thank you. I hope you're probably reading Kiki's text right now. But
he's reading his text.
Yeah, well, he's probably not on there, but she'll still send it to you later. But we thank you for coming on and giving us your insight about the playoffs and playoffs, yes, and all that stuff. And Miss Kiki, hope everything, keep in mind, where can people find you?
The Web Slinger, DAWEBSLINGA on all platforms. Twitter, now X.
Mm-hmm.
Now together with T-Mobile. Facebook, Instagram, Real Talk Uncensored on Beltway Radio and Beyond. Just come for me. Come see me. Come see me.
And Tez, I know you're not a lot on.
I'm on a lot of different things. I guess at Ketchum Cordy on Instagram, at DC Cortez on X. It's been a while. I've been off the grid.
Don't forget your OnlyFans. Stop it.
Whoa, well, that's Brian, not me. That's Brian's domain, not mine.
Actually, there's a new site called Unfilter, but that's a whole other story. But anyway, as you can
news to me.
Yeah, news to me. As you can see down there, it's No Filters Instagram, so it's too long to mention. So, anyway, hope to see you there. And thank you again, Tez and Miss Kiki. We will see you next time here on No Filter Sports. Have a happy Thanksgiving, too. Bye.
Oh, wow. All right, we're going to Thanksgiving.